Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. And if you don't have a song sheet, please get one. Yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Okay. Okay, good Shabbos. Hope you'll have a song sheet. We're going to briefly go over the opening song. 3 Hebrew words. Repeat after me. Olam, chesed, yibaneh, which means we will build a word out of compassion. Of course, they use the word love, but technically. And so let it wash over you. It's not too complicated. So let me sing it once or twice and you'll join me. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, yadai, yadadai. Real simple, very lilting. So let's try that one more time because we're going to bring it around in the service in a few moments. Let's try that again. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, yadai, yadadai. 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 I will build this world from love, yadadai, yadai, yadadai. And you must build this world from love, yadadai, yadai, yadadai. And if we build this world from love, yadadai, yadai, yadadai, then God will build this world from love, yadadai, yadai, yadadai.
That always makes a good ending. Shabbat Shalom. And welcome. Welcome to everyone. And I think it would be nice if we just took like 2 minutes to just introduce yourself to someone who maybe you're not sure you know or don't know their name, and just, well, welcome each other. Okay, so we are going to gather back together. We have, in case you are watching at home, we have a number of new people, visitors here. It's very, very exciting. We love when that happens. So we're just all very busy here welcoming the people who haven't been here before. It's really important to us to have a very accessible service. So hopefully, no matter what your background, you'll be able to comfortably follow along with what's happening. So first up is lighting our Shabbat candles, our symbol of light and hope and joy. Louise is right there. Louise Samuels will be lighting our Shabbat candles. And you can find it in your prayer book on page 120. It's good for your skin. Teamwork. It's a sermon.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivonu lehadlig ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, God, source of all life, who brings us holiness through mitzvot and who has given us the mitzvah of lighting the Shabbat candles.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Mr. Koach, thank you. And next up, hello. Where is it? Feel good. It's summer. Next up is our song in which we welcome our Shabbat bride into our midst, Lecha Dodi. It is a medieval poem written by the spiritual Kabbalists in Israel who were thinking of Shabbat as a beautiful wedding in which the Shabbat bride comes in and she is with us into the next 24 hours. So our custom is that we sing the first two verses, and then we skip to the final verse, at which point we rise and face the door and welcome symbolically the Shabbat bride into our sanctuary. Lecha Dodi is on page 138.
Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום, עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני העם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
You may be seated. And I'd like to call up Elijah Aronson, who's getting closer and closer to becoming bar mitzvah, to lead us in Chatzi Kaddish on page 144. And actually, right before you start, I did not say thank yous. So thank you to Andy Sussman, our soloist. Thank you to Ruth Pavlo, our pianist. To Xavier Leff in the back, who is working all the sound, both here and around the world, where potentially we could be, people could be watching our wonderful service. Okay, you ready? Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadal, Yitgadal, Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yamad Yivrach Hirtei Vimlech Malchutei. Bechayecho Uvyomecho Uvchayedecho Be'Yisrael. Bagala, Bagala, Uvisman Karib. Vimru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevara. Le'alam U'al Me'amaya. Yitbara, Yitbara, V'yishtaba, V'yitbar, V'yitnama, V'yitnase, V'yitador, V'yitale, V'yitala, Shemei de Kudashat Berechu, Le'elam Yichol Berchata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'ne'emata, Damin Rabbi Alma, V'imru, Amen.
And we continue with Baruch Hu on page 146. If you're able, you may rise.
La 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 la, la 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 la, 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 la 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 la, la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai, Hamevorach, Hamevorach, Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach, Leolam, Leolam Vahed. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due, now and forever. La 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 la, la 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 la, 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 la 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 la, la 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 la.
So on page 150 is one of the traditional prayers said between Baruch Hu and Shema, which is Ahavat Olam, that God so loved Israel that we received Torah and mitzvot and all of our Jewish heritage. So on that theme will be the song we opened with, which is Olam Chesed Yibaneh, the world will be built with compassion and loving kindness, which is a teaching from the Psalms, from the Bible, and it is on your song sheet.
Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadidai, Yadai, Yadadadai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadidai, Yadai, Yadadadai. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yadai, yadai, yadadadai. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yadadai, yadai, yadadadai. I will build this world from love. Yadadai, yadai, yadadadai. You must build this world from love. Yadadai, yadai, yadadadai. And if we build this world from love, yadadai, yadai, yadadadai, then God will build this world from love. Yadadai, yadai, yadadadai. Please join me. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yadadai, yadai, yadadadai. 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 Then God will build this world from love. Yadadai, yadai, yadadadai.
That's now the end to every song.
We're expanding our repertoire.
Yeah. Shema is a 6-word line from the Torah, from the book of Deuteronomy, that says, "Be attentive, people Israel. Our God is Echad." Echad either meaning one or meaning unity. Something in this blessing is telling us ultimately God weaves all of life, all humankind together as one, and perhaps it is our challenge to try to see that and live it out in our daily lives, in the way we function in this world, a difficult challenge for sure. So Shema is on 152, and you may rise.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam, Leolam Vahed.
Seated, and we continue with "You Shall Love the Lord Your God" on your song sheet.
And you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be upon your heart, shall be upon your heart. Shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be a symbol between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorpost of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
Mi Chamocha is on your song sheet, also from Torah, Book of Exodus, and describes the joy that the Israelite people felt as they were finally freed from slavery in Egypt and released into the wilderness to go who knows where, but they were happy to be leaving, and they looked ahead with hope. So in that spirit, we continue with Mi Chamocha on your song sheet.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar ba'kodesh norat tehilot, osef ele, norat tehilot, osef ele. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar ba'kodesh norat tehilot, osef ele, Norat tehilot, osef ele, malchutecha, ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam, lifnei Moshe uMiriam, ze'eli, anu ve'ameru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, la 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 la. Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai. Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar ba'kodesh norat tehilot, osef ele, norat tehilot, osef ele. Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai. Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you, Adonai?
Page 162. V'shamru, not our usual V'shamru, another Debbie Friedman, I believe, right? So V'shamru is out of the book of Exodus, out of the Torah, and says that this Shabbat day is a sign of the loving relationship between God and the Jewish people. So it is at the top of page 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת שבת וינפש שבת שבת וינפש שבת שבת וינפש.
The tefillah is the central portion of our worship service, and it begins on page 164. If you're able, you may rise.
Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid, Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid, Tehilatecha.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot, Umevi Gula Levanei V'Neihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav Lahoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Sahomech Noflim, V'Rofech Olim, Umatir Rasurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar. Bichamocha Bal Givurot, Umido Melach, Melech Meimit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman lachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shemecha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. We continue with a moment of silent reflection, either with the prayers of our hearts or the prayers in our prayer book, and we continue either standing or sitting.
שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
We take a moment to send our thoughts and our prayers to all who are in need of healing, physical healing, spiritual healing, all who do not quite feel whole in our world. On this Shabbat, we especially think of these members and loved ones of our community: Paul Aronson, David Appel, Sherry Estalos, Pat Breitkopf, Ethan Campbell, Sandra Chesler, Brian Clohessy, Randy Clohessy, Jay Crystal, Terry Darmody, Robin Fry, Eileen Edelman, Shar Friedman, Renee Horowitz, Tracy Janetta, Julian Kaner, Marion Kostrinsky, Marty Kiefer, John Lacanada, Mark Merberg, Claude Rabinowitz, Arnold Reamer, Rosalie Saltiel, Louise Samuels, Bobby Sherman-Geishen, Herman Spring, Robin Stein, Carla Teich, Katie Weinstock, Lori Weinstock. Are there others we wish to think of? We continue with our prayer of healing, Misha Beirach, and you can find it on your song sheet.
Misha Beirach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah, Rivka, Rachel veLeah Hu yevarech v'yirapeh et hacholim. Misha Beirach Avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah, Rivka, Rachel veLeah Hu yevarech v'yirapeh et hacholim. El Narefanala, El Narefanala, El Narefanala, El Narefanala, Mishaberach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, veLeah, Hu yevarech v'yirapeh et hacholim.
What does it mean to be anti-Zionist? If you're looking for total clarity on this one, sorry, I can't provide the definition because people use this term either about others or about themselves in a wide variety of ways. It's like the word that in theory describes the opposite, Zionist. What that means depends on who you talk to. So while I can't provide total clarity, I can at least offer some thoughts, some information to think about as we in the Jewish community try to wade through all the viewpoints that we see and we hear in media, whether it is in the Jewish media or general media sources out in the world. I'm going to start with a general rule of thumb. Whenever we use one-word labels to define someone's position on a large and complex issue, we are going to miss the mark. None of us fits neatly into a one-word label. Zionist and anti-Zionist is setting up a complicated host and range of viewpoints about a large diversity of issues as a simple binary. You're on this side or you're on that side. So right off the bat, it's ridiculous. I far prefer to avoid the inflammatory and unhelpful labeling of people's often nuanced thoughts and feelings and focus on individual ideas and opinions that are perhaps within these categories. And there's probably overlap among the categories. For each one of us, some parts of this picture are more important than others. So for me personally, I want to know if someone feels that there's no need for Jews to have their own homeland. Within the Jewish community at large, one would hear this more from younger Jews than older Jews. And honestly, from my perspective, I see this as reflecting a bit of naivete about the real life dangers for Jews in this world. I'm too young to personally remember the Holocaust, but I am old enough that Holocaust survivors were sort of young middle age when I was a child. And we'd go into the Bronx all the time to visit all my grandparents. It would not be super unusual to see someone sitting on a park bench with a number branded on their arm. Anne Frank was murdered in a concentration camp only 15 years before I was born. Now, as a kid, I thought that was literally ancient history, like the Torah times history. I now know, with a little more age on me, how terrifyingly recent the Holocaust was to my early years. Another of my personal red lines, I guess you could call them, I will not tolerate historical lies. Those who claim that the state of Israel is a modern creation of white Europeans who simply colonized land that they stole from indigenous people have no idea what they're talking about on any level. Many levels. Many Israelis, many Jewish Israelis are not European, they're not white. Jewish Israelis represent people fleeing persecution in countries around the world, including large populations coming from Africa, coming from the Middle East. My soon-to-be son-in-law is a third-generation Israeli. His family on his dad's side, having immigrated decades ago from Iraq, where they were for hundreds of years. The family on his mom's side, also immigrating to Israel decades ago from North Africa. Israel is their multi-generational home. What's with the calls to go back where you came from, as sometimes is heard? Israel is where they're from. And that story fits many families in Israeli society. I also won't stand for conspiracy theories that the horrors of October 7th didn't happen, or that they really weren't that bad, or this is just all a made-up excuse for Israel to commit some kind of racial or religious genocide. These claims are the moral equivalent of Holocaust denying. There are those who say, I mean, we've all heard all these things, that the brutal murder of over 1,000 Israeli citizens was somehow justified because of the policies of the Israeli government, or because Jews have no right to be there, so of course it's fine what happened to them. All of these ideas are morally repugnant, and I would go as far to say they are evil. So those are my boundaries in the current discussions and debates around Israel. My feeling is you have to have at least a rudimentary knowledge of basic historical facts to have the discussion, and you have to see Israeli citizens as human beings who deserve human rights, like the right to live free of terror and torture and murder. So, am I really asking too much here? Beyond those things, it's really complicated. And I understand there are many legitimate disagreements within the Jewish community itself. There are disagreements about Benjamin Netanyahu, his competence, his political and religious policies, his morality on a host of issues. There are disagreements about how the war is being fought. Is it being fought well? Is it being fought as ethically as possible? Even differences about who exactly is the enemy is not 100% clear. And one thing I've seen over the past few months within Jewish circles is some nastiness and name-calling when it comes to these legitimate disagreements. One example, the Orthodox Union has come out with a statement that the Reform movement cannot be an advocacy partner with them. In the words of Orthodox Union Vice President, Rabbi Moshe Hauer, the Reform movement's statements are terribly misguided and misunderstanding of what it means to act in a way that supports the Jewish people. Primarily, his opinion stems from the criticism that the Reform movement has had of policies of Netanyahu, the way he's directing the war effort, and by the way, this is the way many, many Israeli citizens also feel, and there are many, protests, marches against the government in Israel on a regular basis involving many, many, many people. To me, it's disturbing that one would question the loyalty of an entire American movement of Judaism that supports Israel, that sends its teens to Israel, that supports rabbis and congregations in Israel because of political differences. So the way the world is now, we really want to start dividing ourselves up this way. And in addition, within the Reform movement, there has been a great deal of debate, particularly among rabbis, about what role Israel needs to play in the life and the rabbinate of anyone who is currently or potentially in the future going to enter the rabbinate. So this debate is often entitled, should an anti-Zionist be allowed to gain admission to Hebrew Union College? And Hebrew Union College is the Reform rabbinical school. All of us who are Reform rabbis have to first do a graduate program at Hebrew Union College. So you can imagine there are folks who have responded very, very strongly to this specific question within the Reform Rabbis Facebook group. I've seen it many times, and there are very strong responses on both sides of this question. Absolutely yes, absolutely no. For me, again, I don't find these one-word labels as very helpful. I don't know, what does that mean if somebody is anti-Zionist? There's just too many variables here to just, again, label everybody, you're on this side or you're on that side. It means whatever that individual person deems it to mean. So for me, that doesn't give me enough information to really gauge where this person is at. So some things to think about. As a reminder of Reform Jewish history, early Reform Judaism was officially anti-Zionist in terms of our movement's position papers. This does not mean that early Reform rabbis were anti-Semites. It means, how I see it, that they were still blissfully naive enough to not understand what it means to live as a Jew in the modern world without a Jewish homeland. So of course, as the 20th century progressed and it became more and more clear the horrors that could be and ultimately would be in store for Jews in such a world, anti-Zionism, certainly by the time of World War II, disappeared from the movement. So now, young Jews are considering entering rabbinical seminary, and they, like the early members of the Reform movement, have some naivete. When you apply to rabbinical school, you're usually about 21 years old. No offense, but how much did you know and understand about the world when you were 21 years old? Me, I was academically smart and also very ignorant about the ways of the world and just human nature in general. I also didn't know a real lot of world history, and I wasn't very astute about politics on the world stage. Israel was only 33 years old when I applied to rabbinical school, and it was still okay to believe all the utopian ideas of this ideal Jewish place where everyone got along and everyone was happily dancing the hora on the beach. Did anyone else grow up in a religious school where you saw those movies? I literally thought they were wearing the little hats and dancing happily on the beach. I literally thought that was true. So, at the time, I'm sure I would have responded to pointed questions about the state very positively and very idealistically. Like, of course I'm a Zionist. Who wouldn't be a Zionist? I do hesitate to judge the current crop of Jewish 21-year-olds now based on where I in the world was in 1982? How would I, a very young and immature 21-year-old, have navigated the complex questions that a committee might ask me today about Israel, about Israeli politics? If I unhesitatingly supported the right of Israel to exist as a Jewish country, my hunch is I would be today much more confused, unsure of all the historical facts, not sure where my Jewish values should really put me in this complicated morass. What if the committee forced me, a 21-year-old college kid, to pick a side in this ridiculous binary? Are you a Zionist or are you an anti-Zionist? I think a young and somewhat ignorant me would pick Zionist, but I can't say for sure. I think where working on this sermon has taken me is to a place where I am advocating for avoiding putting labels on our fellow Jews, into putting our fellow Jews into friend or foe camps based on overly simplistic labels. It's very upsetting to me that the Orthodox are pushing us into an enemy camp because we're not aligned with Netanyahu, a very morally questionable figure who has many in his own Israeli society who want him out. It's upsetting to me that we insist on putting unhelpful labels on other Jews rather than talking to each other about the individual complexities involved as we sort through what is a very difficult time for our people. I worry that name-calling is going to interfere with us having real and intelligent conversations about Israel when things are going to get more and more muddy as time goes on. Jews are headed toward being a minority within the country as the population of people who are not Jewish, mostly Muslim, grow in numbers at faster rates than the Jews. This was already an issue. We didn't need October 7th. This was already a very concerning issue. The right-wing Orthodox seem to be gaining more and more unfettered power to have total say over what Judaism is in a country that's supposed to be a homeland for all of us Jews. So there's a lot going on. We need to keep open minds and open hearts with one another as we face an unknown future. I suppose that's the answer to just about all of the world's problems. Amen. I'd like to call up Stan Klein to tell us what is going on at TBO. Always a lot.
Say I'm tall.
Well, you're taller than me. I think that's
Good evening.
objectively factual.
Now I will interpret everything that the rabbi just said.
Okay.
A lot of thought, really. I'd like to thank the Rabbi Rappaport. I'd like to thank President Matthew's family, who encouraged him so much to become president for 5 years. I'd like to thank Andy and Ruth and Xavier. How you doing? Good? I have a lot of notes here, so I'll be really quick. Tomorrow we have Torah discussion via Zoom tomorrow morning. Monday is Mahjong. Tuesday, I know I don't participate, my wife does, and she comes home angry confused, talking about how barbaric people are. I didn't realize we killed so many, but that is the Tanakh on Tuesday.
Now that's quite an ad.
Wednesday, to settle down, they play canasta right here. On Thursday, we have bingo, many activities. Oh my God. Let's look at the future. On July 16th, Sisterhood is going out to lunch at Bonefish Grill. They're not paying for it. You have to pay individually. Everybody is invited. Is that true? Okay.
Women, I think, isn't it?
We have on July 26th, sorry I won't be here, the Paris Olympic Shabbat service. And that is the day of the beginning.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
This is the place to be, not Paris, but here.
Okay, it's here. I may be in Paris. We are selling high holiday prayer books, $60 per set. Please join. I see new faces here. Join. We're a good place. August 31st, Elijah, where are you?
Right there.
That is a huge event, one of the biggest events of the year. Elijah, how do I say it?
Is leading service as a bar mitzvah.
He's a bar mitzvah?
A bar mitzvah.
Okay. Bar mitzvah, August 31st. Be here. It's Saturday. It's going to be a great event. August 4th, we have a book club. Let me jump to Sisterhood, and I really look forward to this. In February 28th through March 3rd, Sisterhood is going on a cruise. So the spouses of Sisterhood are going to do a whole lot of fun stuff. We'll talk about that in the future. If you want to go on a cruise, contact Roseanne. Sorry I didn't say hi to streaming people. Open house is
August 11th.
August 11th. That's it.
Sunday for 2 hours. That's always a fun event. Yeah, we have a bunch of fun services coming up, and so please feel free to pick up flyers in the front lobby about all our special services. Paris Olympics, comfy clothes movie night Shabbat, where we're going to watch You're So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah, and more. So I'd like to call up Belle Reynolds to open our ark. Molly, you want to help her? She needs help. You need your book. And Bradley, you want to help too? Lenu is on page 586, and you may rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהן, וגורלנו ככל עמונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Thank you, Yasher Koach. You may be seated. We remember those who are no longer with us. those who remain in our thoughts and our hearts and our memories, those who leave their legacy of all the ways they brought their unique gifts to our world. On this Shabbat, we especially remember those whose yahrzeits fall this week: Ruth Dreyfus, Stanley Ginsberg, Evelyn Kassoff, Robert Keel, Florence Leonardo, Francis Levy, Bessie Minkowitz, Joel Radin, Marcia Rome, Alan Rosenthal, Ruth Rosner, Melvin Schwartz, Sarah Treef, Janet Freestadt Weiner, Marilyn Zeed. Are there others we wish to remember? We honor all of their memories with Mourner's Kaddish on page 598, and you may rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrach yerutei v'yamlech malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, b'agala uvizman kari v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach la'olam olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemed kudsha berichu. La'ela min kol berachata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Damiran bi'alma v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shlama rab amin shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. V'yimru, v'yimru, v'yimru. Amen. V'yimru, v'yimru, v'yimru. Amen. You may be seated. We move from our sacred prayer of memory to the joy of the Shabbat day, and I'd like to call Elijah back up to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi. So you can find Kiddush in your prayer book on page 123. Okay, I'll take one too.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidishanu mitzvotav v'rata ba'anu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon chilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila la'mikra kodesh zecher l'tzion mitzrayim ki vanu v'charta ve'atanu kidashta michol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon chichaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim. That's good. It's nice looking.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
That's a nice piece of challah. So there is going to be more challah momentarily in the breezeway at our Oneg Shabbat in the back. So everyone please join us for that. Meanwhile, we conclude with the singing of Ein Keloheinu, and it is on page 626.
Ein Keloheinu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemakenu, ein Kemoshienu. Ein Keloheinu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemakenu, ein Kemoshienu. Mi Eloheinu, mi Chadonenu, mi Chemalkeinu, mi Chemoshienu. Nodel Eloheinu, nodel Adonenu, nodel Malkeinu, nodel Moshienu. Ein Keloheinu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemakenu, ein Kemoshienu. Ein Keloheinu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemakenu, ein Kemoshienu. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Ein Keloheinu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu. Ein Keloheinu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu.
Shabbat Shalom. Join us for Oneg.